Hi guys, and welcome back to Hairdryer Treatment. We're back. We're recapping a game against Leicester City, and we'll get into that in a minute. But Meg, firstly, how are you? I hope you've had a wonderful Christmas. As all the viewers as well, I hope you've had a fantastic one. Feel free to let us know in the chat what you've been up to as well. But yeah, we're going to focus on the game today. Meg, how are you doing?
I am okay. I feel like I've got a bit of a Boxing Day brain going on. Like I'm just about to go and slab back on the sofa again. The kids have got all the Christmas toys out, which is fine by me. Go ahead, open everything that you've got and play with it. That's fine by me. I'm about to put my feet up and have a day full of football. And obviously Manchester United on first. So I'm almost kind of glad we're out the way and done with. You know, do you know what I mean? Like we're finished now. We can just go and chill for the rest of the day.
What's your thoughts on that though, Meg? A draw, obviously, a draw is not good for both teams really. Leicester battered Spurs last week though, when you're looking at it. I mean, what's your thoughts on the game? Do you think come end of the season that could turn out to be an important draw?
It could turn out to be an important draw for us. I think that first half was really, well, if you look at the stats, it was really close as well. I never felt like, oh, this one team's going to go on and absolutely annihilate the other one. It was so close in that first half. I did, however, think within that first 2 minutes when Rashford got through, the little dink by Bruno, I thought, that's it, game on now. He'll bang this one. But no, it wasn't meant to be. I'm glad he came back and almost repaid what he'd lost in that first 2 minutes. I'm glad it didn't just sit with him. But I did think, oh, we're onto a good near, but it just wasn't meant to be.
And it boils down to that, doesn't it? I mean, within the first few minutes, Rashford should have scored a header. And, you know, I'm a massive Rashford fan, but all openly say that he could have had a hat-trick today. He wasn't clinical. Obviously, still got a goal, and I knew he would. I knew he'd still score. I literally said he'll make up for that miss. But then you mentioned there was other times later on in the game where he could have scored again. And we just weren't clinical enough, were we? But we've said that so many times this season, and it comes back to bite us.
Yeah, like that first one, like obviously they're going to miss chances, aren't they, strikers? But that first one, I think, it was just an important time. The first 2 minutes of the game, we could have just gone and put like our stamp on the game straight away. The one towards the end, where he got through, Schmeichel made a good save, and that's fair enough. You know, the keepers are going to pull off good saves as well. I'm glad he got the goal. And had he had a hat trick of chances, him not taking one of them, it's so frustrating. But he did take one of them. But then we had other opportunities where we could have taken as well, and we just didn't finish it off today.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. And my days have said I look different, probably because my hair's up in a bun, which is very rarely. But like Meg said, it's a sofa day, slobbing around. That's what's been happening. But I feel someone summed it up here. They said it was a fair result. I do think a draw was probably a fair result from the end of it. It was frustrating. And the reason it's frustrating is we didn't dominate play. We know that they had most of the ball, but we had the chances. I mean, how many headers did we miss today? You mentioned the Rashford one. Bruno had one as well. Maguire had one. I just felt like I don't know. It was one of them games where I just didn't feel like we were going to win. And it's horrible to say that, but even when at the end Cavani came on, Rashford scored, I had a feeling. I knew Jamie Vardy would still have something to say in that game, and he did. But defensively, Meg, we are vulnerable, aren't we?
We are. I did actually think that, especially in the first half, and I said this, I used the word the other day, like tame. Like we tamed Leicester in front of goal. Yeah. They really didn't really test. Maddison had that free kick that he could have had a great opportunity from. And I am not a goalkeeping expert at all, but my heart was racing when De Gea had left that much room on his side, and Rashford headed it over. One good chance he actually headed it over. But I just think Leicester were tame in the first half. We could have probably done more in that first 45 minutes to have gone on to influence the game a little bit more. But I felt it was quite sloppy from both teams.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't fluent like we've been seeing.
Yeah, I think what Leicester did really, really well, and we know Rodgers is a good manager, but he made Ndidi and the others in the midfield literally block out anything to Bruno Fernandes. They were not letting Bruno Fernandes pick the ball up, and we know how creative he is. He's our main player, and if he's not on the ball, we struggle to create anything. And I think they did that, particularly in the first half. I think they did that really, really well. And Ollie had to make changes, obviously. The injury to Lindelof didn't help. Hopefully that's not too bad. Pogba came on. I mean, did you think he had a positive influence when he came on, Meg?
I don't think he didn't come on and be like, oh, he's shone. I did actually just see someone in the chat, whilst we're talking about the whole midfield, talk about Fred and about why he wasn't starting. I'd actually give Fred the United star player.
I did see it.
I think he played. He interrupted their play really well. He did give a nibble away at the very end, and it can be costly giving free kicks away from on the edge of the box. But for me, Fred shielded the defence really well today. Pogba came on. I'm surprised he didn't start. I was surprised to see James starting, but he didn't set the world alight, but he didn't also do anything that I thought you've cost us the game either.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to James Dunlop. Looks like 2 points dropped. It does feel like that, doesn't it? Like I say, when you look at it from the outside, you probably would take the fair result based on the fact that they had a lot more of the ball than us. But we had the chances, and that's what makes it so frustrating. It makes it feel a bit like a loss, doesn't it? Especially when you go in the lead twice and you bottle it twice. It's so frustrating. It really is. Some people saying that we were classed as title challengers. For me, we're not. We openly said that on here, but you have to be classed as it because you're there and thereabouts. But with that defence, Meg, surely we can't be classed as title contenders. Not with that. You're not going to win a title with defensive mistakes like that, are you?
Rewatch Vardy's goal, right? Vardy is, bar two of them running in, literally as the ball's crossed, the other two are on the edge of the 18-yard box. I don't know who it is for Leicester. There is McTominay running back for us. Maguire to his baby, and by all within the 6-yard box, and Vardy got there first and finished it. So we've got almost like 5 players, and there's Vardy, and then there's 2 on the very edge of the 18-yard box. Is how he's managed to find a bit of space, finish it. I will say for De Gea, on Barnes' goal and Vardy's, they hit it with pace. They do hit it with pace. I'd hate to be a goalkeeper. I'd hate it. But they do hit it with pace, and I feel like De Gea didn't really have much chance with either of them, but they could have been avoided further up on the pitch.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And you talked about saves and ball being hit at pace. Rashford's effort when he was clean through, he should have scored. I'm not denying it, but I think it was a great save by Schmeichel because he hit it with some pace. And normally with that, a keeper might get a hand on it, but it still ends up going in. And now, long hand and he's kept it out, and I think it was a good save. Alex, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. I hope you had a lovely Christmas. Second goal shows why we need a centre-back in January, as we won't win the league with our current defenders. Maguire should have cut it out before he got to Vardy. Defensively, we just look so frail across the board, to be honest with you. We look all over the place. Maguire gets a lot of stick on our captain, such a high fee. But for me, defensively, as a unit, we're just not settled, and we haven't been settled for a long time now.
Yeah, I did think when Wan-Bissaka and Maguire came in last season, honestly, the seasons are running into one because of everything that happened this year. I'm like, where are we? Which season are we in? When they came in, I thought this is going to secure us up a little bit at the back. We were dodgy before that, and yet I still feel like that's probably our weakest point across the 11. So it's obvious that we need to purchase defenders. It's something that we've got to strengthen. But yeah, it's annoying to sit here and be like, defence is still costing us.
But it is. But you say defence is costing us, but again, we had enough chances to win that game. Going forward, you've got to take your chances as well, and it's not a good combination to have if you're not taking your chances at the attacking end, but you're conceding.
Yeah.
As well, it's a recipe for disaster, isn't it?
I mean, it doesn't bode well, does it? It's not what you want. It's not a cocktail for winning the league.
Yeah, I agree. Thoughts on Dan James today, Meg?
A surprise inclusion for me. I didn't expect him to be in the starting 11. I think he worked hard, and I will give him that. He does work hard. He gave the ball away a lot for me. And he, second half, there was him running through. I think it was Martial on the other side, and he went to play the ball. It should have just been an easy pass to slot Martial through. The defender coming to close him, and the defender blocked it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, had you been able to just make that pass, Martial would have been on one-on-one. But yeah, worked hard, but just wasn't clinical with an end product enough.
I think what frustrates me with James is I really want it to work out for him. Like, I literally really so badly want it to work out. But, I mean, someone said in the chat just it's simple. He shouldn't be anywhere near the starting 11. And it's hard to argue at the moment with the quality. We saw the bench today, the quality we've got on the bench, like how Dan James is starting. And I get that, like you say, works hard, positionally, he's probably better than some of the players we have because they're not natural wingers. But it just doesn't influence the game enough for me. He's on the fringes of the game throughout it. He's a bit lightweight, gets knocked off it. And like I say, I want it to work out so badly for him. But him starting today was a surprise one. I'm not blaming the result on Dan James or anything like that. But I was just wanting to do a summary on him, really, see what you thought. And it sounds similar to what I said. George just came up with a nice little simile here. It made me laugh. We're like a chef's apron, solid at the front, but nothing at the back. I mean, that's a good assessment, Meg. Would you agree with that?
I mean, that's one way to put it, isn't it? Not what I would have said, but one way to have put it.
Yeah, I mean, you say solid going forward, so we don't take our chances, so it's even odd to that. But I like the simile regardless. Diego, Merry Christmas to you as well, and I hope you've had a good one. I hope everyone in the chat's had a lovely Christmas, and not feeling too down about that result. At the end of the day, coming into the season, that point might be an important one for us, Meg. Like I say, Spurs got battered to Leicester last week. We didn't get battered today. We just didn't take our chances.
Yeah, I think the only annoying thing is that we went ahead twice, and then to not get 3 points out of a game, which would take us above Leicester. A point keeps us in it, but it doesn't give you confidence going forward. Like, the players might come off that pitch now and be like, we should have won that game. So it is 2 points dropped, because if you're feeling like you should have come off and said we should have won that, that's 2 points dropped rather than 1 point gained. It keeps us in and about where we are. It doesn't allow, well, obviously teams can come and try and catch us, but it doesn't drop us any further down.
Yeah,
I know we don't gain any points if you lose, but you don't. 1 point gained is better than anything dropped.
Yeah, I'd have felt even worse if we'd have conceded at the end there, which could have quite easily happened, like you say. We didn't. But like you say, from a winning position twice, not even once, twice, that's where it's frustrating. And again, defensive frailties have cost us, and not taking chances have cost us. Lindelof today got battered. Why didn't Axel start? I want to ask you about that. I would rather see Tuanzebe at right back than Lindelof. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? I know that he's probably thinking Lindelof doesn't deserve to be dropped and he's probably trying to accommodate. But for me, if he's got to start Boye, which fair enough, I would have started Axel, because I think Axel played well at right back the other day.
I agree. I also want to, this whole thing with Manchester United, sharing the team in numerical order, not positions, really frustrates me. Because I looked at that lineup and I was like, is this Dan James at right back, like right wing back, and Luke Shaw at wing back, or is this a 3 at the back? Is it a 5 at the back? We ended up with 4 at the back and Lindelof on the right, which I never predicted. I think if it was a 4 at the back, I'd have Bailly at the right, but I feel like we were accommodating Lindelof today, because Bailly had a good game in midweek, and then we were like, well, Lindelof hasn't done anything really wrong to be dropped, but Bailly also deserves to start as well. So I think it was almost like we just wanted to put them all in to see how they get on.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that you can't be accommodating players if you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You want squad rotation. We said the other day our squad depth has improved. We need to rotate, and I understand that we need to rotate. I saw someone complaining saying that Ole's moving the team around too much. But I think you've kind of got to do that, especially over the Christmas period. Is Leicester the game to do that in? Maybe not, because someone said Leicester aren't second for no reason. They're a very good team. Scholes summed it up perfectly, says Naz. He says, let's hope we never see Victor at right back again.
He's not a right back.
He's not. I'm not criticising Victor because he's been put there. Like, Ollie's put him there. He's trusted him there. But that's just not his position, is he? And like you say, it's accommodating him.
It's also like we saw Pogba towards at the end, like very much heavily on the left-hand side. I don't feel like that was Pogba's position to be on the left-hand side either. But yeah, the word accommodate sits perfectly.
Yeah, I think we've seen that so often with players, and it's something that we need to get. At the end of the day, your squad needs to be big. You need to have quality players to come on the bench, and that means people will miss out the lineup sometimes. But you're playing for Manchester United, no player should be guaranteed. I don't think we should be accommodating players, and I did feel for Axel today, to be fair. I felt like he should have been given that right back slot. Andy says, Merry Christmas, girls. Hope you're good, Andy. Merry Christmas to you as well. Hope you've had a good one. And the issue is now, of course, Lindelof looks like he's going to be out injured, which doesn't help us defensively. I mean, January, Meg, do you think that we will be looking for a centre-back? Do you think that we could possibly invest there?
I think we will invest in the defence. Do I think, Manchester United, we've been screaming out for a centre back for seasons, and we haven't. We got Maguire in the end, but that took us weeks to sort out. But we've been screaming for a centre back for seasons, and we've just managed to invest in one. And we look at some teams, and if they want it, they go out and get it. So that perhaps we need to be a bit more ruthless and say, do you know what, we want it, we need to get it. But yeah, defences aren't a quick fix, and that's very true. The only thing I will say is if we are forced, like we are going to be doing, if Lindelof is out, we're going to be forced to play a team. Yeah, Bailly and then Tuanzebe Axel, you've got Foster. Do you know if you're forced to play players, are we going to see relationships on the pitch built? Because you are like, you haven't got a different option. That's the only option that we've got.
True. So you're not going to be able to swap and change as much as we have been on rotation to play the same four, and hopefully that four create a bond. But I agree with Hector completely. Defenders need to settle. We need to get them playing together and getting used to the system. And it takes a bit longer for a defender to settle. So it's a bit of a risky one in January, I think, to make that signing. But I do think we need to invest in the defence. I completely agree with you. And it'd be interesting to see what happens. I mean, going into that January window, Meg, it's vital, isn't it? I mean, we didn't invest as much as we wanted to in the summer. It's vital, surely, that we do now, isn't it? It's vital that we do that.
Yeah, I think, like I said, if you, as Manchester United, they're gonna have a plan of action that they need to have this player or they want this player. Go out and get the player.
Yeah.
Don't start. I know that there's going to be some negotiations involved. We don't want to be ripped off. But go out and actually make a stance and purchase a player that you want.
Yeah.
Because we drag deals on. We drag it and drag it and drag it. And in the end, we don't get them.
Yeah, I know.
Why drag it on if you don't want to get, if you're not going to, just be 100% committed to it, don't drag it on, just be done, finished.
I think too often we've seen us penny pinching, haven't we? We've seen us not willing to go through with that deal because we want to save some money. But the whole Sancho thing, I'm going to ask you about this. Sancho, I think he's barely scored this season, barely got any assists. He's been a bit of a flop this season. I remember us talking about Sancho constantly, and I used to call it the S word because I was sick of talking about it. We weren't allowed to say it anymore. Transfers coming up, no doubt his name will be mentioned, but obviously they were quoting over 100 million for Sancho. And the start of this season, you'd have to say, it's looking like Ed Woodward could have dodged the bullet with that one. I'd like to see what the chat want to say about it, but is Sancho worth more than 100 million, Meg?
Not right now, no, because of the way that he's performed this season so far. But you never know, like, is it everything that happened in the summer and all the rumours surrounding him? Has it affected Sancho?
Yeah.
He was pretty much on a plane ready to come over. That's for me the way that I read the rumours that it was pretty much a done deal. He was coming over to sign, and then you never know how it affects a player. But yeah, probably not 100 million now.
I agree. Jerome T. Green, thank you so much for the super chat. Merry Christmas to you. Can someone explain why Martial gets a lot of criticism and Dan James, but Marcus gets 0 for missing 2 chances he should bury? I'd make that 3 chances he could have scored probably 4 today. But yeah, I mean, is it a lot to do with what Rashford has been doing outside of football? People don't want to criticise him as much. I don't know. I'm a massive Rashford fan. There you go. Absolutely massive Rashford fan. I love the guy. But I started this stream by saying he could have easily had a hat-trick today. Probably should have had a hat-trick today. And missing them chances, not just in those other chances. Bruno had one, Maguire had one. But missed chances has cost us. I mean, do you think Rashford, is it because of what he does off the field as well, people are less impulsive to judge him?
I think it does have some influence on it. But I would also say that Rashford went on and almost made up for the early chance that he missed. So he had that sitter. It was an absolute sitter that he missed first 2 minutes. But then he goes on and finishes a 1v1. So they kind of equal each other out. And then you go along and say, well, he could have had another one. I think Schmeichel made a great save. So some of the chances that I think he had, that one in particular with Sancho in goal, with Schmeichel made the great save. It wasn't exactly all put on Rashford. But whereas I think today as well, Martial just didn't. I feel like there's a lack of energy, Martial energy.
I find him so frustrating, Martial, because I think he's such a good player. I mean, he did that one mad run where he literally went past 4 or 5, maybe even 6 Leicester players. And you're thinking, how on earth has he done that? He's got so much ability. But like you say, it's almost like sometimes he's ampling around on the pitch. Like he's not getting himself involved as much as what he should do. And that's why I get frustrated with him. Not because I don't rate him, but it's because I've got high expectations for him, I think.
But yes, going back to Rashford, I do think perhaps off the pitch stuff that he's done does kind of like put him on a pedestal so you can't chip at him too much. But we've sat here and said that he should have scored. He should have buried that one in the first 2 minutes. Definitely should have buried it.
I am here, by the way. My camera just decided to switch off for whatever reason. I am still here, I promise you. But yeah, I just find it frustrating. A lot of people are saying that we need a defensive midfielder as well in the chat. I'll get onto that in a minute. But I like this from Alex. He says that we dropped points not because of Rashford, but because of our defence. He did his job by scoring a goal to give us the lead. The defence did not do their job. We do concede far too many goals, don't we, Meg? It's like we have to score almost 4 or 5 to actually know that we've won a game.
And you can't win a title by doing that. You can't expect to score 4 or 5 goals every game.
No, you can't. Sorting my camera out. For some reason it switches cameras, I don't know. Got different angles in there, guys. Don't know what's going on. I would have made that pass to Martial that James couldn't. And that's a frustrating thing with James, his end product as well. We say he works hard and everything, but when he actually gets the ball, that's what I mean. He doesn't influence the game enough for me. He doesn't. I mean, he was involved in the first goal, wasn't he, where Bruno got a little toe to it. There's a bit of fortune and it fell to Rashford. But I'd agree with that. Rashford scored a goal, which you say is what he gets paid to do. No one, you know what I mean? Nobody can knock him for that. But it could have had a lot more. But defensively, I agree. I think there are a lot of vulnerabilities there, and that's what I'm worried about defensively. It used to be a point at United where we weren't creating the chances. It was frustrating because we weren't creating the chances. I think we have to take positives and look at the progression. We now make chances, we just don't finish them, do we?
Definitely. There was a time where under Solskjaer as well, that we were like, there is literally nothing going forward. We used to be side to side. I feel like we just wanted to just go on the pitch and just try not to concede because we haven't really got anything going forward, just trying not to concede. But now, looking at it, we actually create opportunities from open play as well. Because, again, at one point, we were just set pieces, free kicks, penalties. There was no open play goals. But progression is being made.
Yeah, no striker scores every chance they get. As long as they get into their positions, get the chances, they'll score goals. I agree with that. Look, I think as long as we are creating the chances, I have faith in our forward players that we do have quality to put them today, put them away. Sorry, but today obviously was a different story. We just weren't clinical enough, and it's bit us on the bum. It's cost us. But like I said, come end of the season, that point might be an important one. I don't think we need to feel too down about it. It's frustrating the fact that we've led twice and we've conceded, but I don't think we need to get too down about it. Jerome, thank you for that. He says, Meg has a good point, but Marcus always does it. He had the whole net to place it, and he just smashed it at Casper's right arm. I do think it was a good save, though. I think you have to give credit to Casper Schmeichel on that. Don't get me wrong, Rashford should have finished, should have gone low on that one. But a shot at that power, normally a keeper gets the hand to, but maybe still goes in. He's got a good, strong right hand on that end. I do think it was a good save, Meg. Would you agree with that? I think he does deserve some credit there, the keeper as well.
Yeah, I think at times, I mean, if I was playing and I was that close to the goal, I'd absolutely wallop it as well, as hard as I could. But I do get what he means, Jerome, because I do feel at times he did it with his goal, side foots it into the bottom corner beautifully.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that Marcus Rashford has got no finesse, absolutely, but you know. And that one, you do look back and you think, oh, could he have just side-footed it and placed it along the floor rather than hit it as hard as he can? But in that moment, you've got to make a decision like that, and he's gone for absolute power on it. And that, for me, therefore, creates a very good save.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, a lot of people are saying Liverpool are going to pull further away. If Liverpool got West Brom, I believe. Is that right? West Brom? I mean, it should be a win for Liverpool. I mean, yeah.
Should they? But West Brom seem to have. Well,
yeah.
They pulled out the bag against Chelsea and went 3-0 up, but then can't hold on.
Yeah, so. No game. That's what I will say. But I mean, Gaz says there we are bottlers, and I think that's the feeling coming out of this is that you've had 2 leads and both times you've given it away, and both goals were just so avoidable, weren't they? I mean, the first goal. Ricky tweeted about Bruno Fernandes trying to do a little nutmeg in his own half. Yeah, that was wrong to do that, I agree. But also following that, like, we've just backed off him and let him have a shot right on the edge of the area. Barnes, the player who's in good form as well, got a good left peg. And we've just given him so much time. So I think for me that, Bruno shouldn't have given it away. I think in that first half, that was something that we did a lot. We gave the ball away too easily. We didn't hang on to it. Leicester pressed as well. I'll give them that. And they created the midfield, like I say. But it's the reaction after that as well. Like, McTominay in particular, like, they're backing off and they give him a free shot, Meg.
I was just going to say about McTominay, almost like he wanted to put him on his left foot, and Barnes was like, yeah, okay, I'll go on my left foot, and this is what I can do with it. But the space that he had, I mean, it's minimal in terms of absolute how is, you know, a couple of yards, but that couple of yards means you can have a touch and get a strike away.
Yeah.
And on the edge of the box, we said this, we didn't actually pick up on Barnes. We spoke about Vardy and Maddison the other day, but we did say shots from the edge of the box. They've got players that can score. They've gone on and proved it with Barnes today.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is good from that. So the mentality at the start of the game needs addressing. So defensive. Forget we play our best when we are aggressive, and that's what we did at the end of last year. For me, attack is always our best form of defence because our defence is simply not good enough to rely on it. But
just on that, yeah. Put that one back on, so sorry. Because you mentioned about the start of the game, but we had the opportunity first 2 minutes. And if we score that, we are sitting here and saying, look at the last few games, we have gone out and we've started really well. We've got in the other team's face. He didn't take it, and now we're saying that, you know, we don't start well. But yeah, I do get it, but I don't also agree at the same time, because I just think if Rashford had finished that, it's a completely different story.
I do think that once we got a goal, it could have been a different story. I agree with that. But then we'd be talking now about two times we went in the lead and we conceded and bottled it. So I think, like I said, defensively, I just don't think we can trust us. And that's a horrible thing to say. And like you say, Meg, we targeted the defensive. We brought the likes of Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka didn't play today, so I can't involve him in that. But the fact is, we haven't secured at the back. Ollie's still searching for his best defensive partnership, or his best defensive four, if you like. And we just always thought that we were going to concede goals. And quite frankly, if you're playing up against Jamie Vardy, one of the best strikers in the league, he will punish you. And he did that. Unfortunately, it happens, but it could have been worse today, couldn't it, Meg?
It could have been. We haven't spoken about him just yet, Soph, and I just want to touch on him as well, because Cavani came on, and I presume he's coming on rather than starting because he's still coming back from injury and he doesn't want to, you know, he can't play 70 minutes or whatever. His movement to come and get the ball, he broke off the line, he came to collect the ball. It just seems like he's got that mentality, like, oh, I've got the power to be able to create something here.
Yeah.
And he did it. I tweeted as he was coming on, I was like, oh, it's Cavani time. I feel like rather than Fergie time now, we've got Cavani time towards the end of the game. But I just want to say, I don't, you know, people who are listening now, he's really starting to put a mark on, and if he is fit enough to start, for me, is that something that we need to be seeing, Cavani to start?
Over Martial, or would you play Martial out wide and have Rashford, Cavani and Martial as a front three?
It'd be interesting to see that, with the two of them playing off him, or almost like a third man run if Cavani's going to go short like he did today, with a little setback, and Martial and Rashford on the third man run to in behind. Or just like getting a knockdowns. If Cavani's up there and he holds up, he can feed them as well.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see the three of them.
Yeah, I think if I had to choose a front three, that is what I would like to see. I don't think I want Martial dropped, because I've already mentioned I think he's got so much ability, and I kind of think like when he's playing out wide as part of a front three, I feel like that takes pressure off his shoulders. When he's playing as the sole striker, you almost expect him to score. And obviously, he hasn't been hitting the net, and it does get on top of the striker. And I do think, I mean, he has last few games, to be fair. But you know what I mean? I think once he's not scoring, I feel like the pressure. He's a confidence player, Martial. So just out wide, I think that helps his game. And obviously, we know how good. You mentioned Cavani. I love the guy. I've got to be honest, I absolutely love the guy. And did you see the clip against Everton where Boyes reminded him to do his celebration? By the way, that killed me.
He's like this.
His face, he looks so short. But he's not going to do it.
You're not going to do it.
And he does it. But yeah, no, I think Cavani's great. I think he's an element, obviously, he's not getting any younger. He has had an injury, and the fact that we've got so many games close together. But I think he's becoming very valuable to us, Cavani. And when he's not playing, we do regret not having him on the pitch. I think he gives us something different. His movement is absolutely world class. The little ball for Bruno as well. He's just such an intelligent player. And what I like about him as well is he doesn't stop. You mentioned Dan James's work rate, but the difference is the calibre of player. Cavani's got so much more to his game. And he's just, I would hate to play against him, Meg. I mean, Meg, you're a centre-back, so you can talk more about that. But I think Cavani would be an absolute nightmare, wouldn't he? Yeah.
Like I said, that movement, and it is movement like that, because when you, what I will say, and Leicester out of possession of the ball, we had two banks of four, and then Madison almost next to Vardy, and it was literally within an instance they were in those two fours. And that movement, and that's really horrible when you're playing as a centre-half, when your striker leaves you to go forward, because you're almost like, you've got to make a decision. Do you go with him? Or are you going to pass him on? So I think, he's not a defender's worst nightmare, because I think you can get to him, but he has got incredible movement.
Yeah, I mean, McTominay got a lot of stick today. I saw a lot of people saying, what has McTominay done? Against Everton, he was more of a box-to-box, wasn't he? And I think today, in that CDM role, for me, he is a box-to-box midfielder. That suits him better. You saw him bombing it, getting into the box, getting on the end of things. Today, I think you mentioned it, just Leicester, they were so organised, but they created out that midfield as well. They were literally on us in a flash. And if you had a bad first touch, that was it. Like, they were on you. You had no time to do that. And you have to give them credit for that. I think we kind of played into Leicester's hands a little bit in that midfield. Would you agree with that today, Meg?
Yeah, but Leicester are a completely different team to Everton. And I feel like they have, like you said, they've got pace out onto you as well. So if he does go bombing on forward and he's box to box, if he gets caught out,
he had a different role.
Yeah, he's going to be completely out of position. And I think it's almost unfair to be like, well, he didn't play as he did against Everton. Well, what if he's been told not to? What if you've been told you don't get caught out of possession? And if you do go wandering off on an adventure up to the 18-yard box whilst we're attacking and you get caught out, who's behind you?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think against Everton, he was given more of a freer role where he could be that box-to-box. Whereas he didn't have that freedom. It was more picking the ball up with his back to goal. Like, it really, like, he was pressed. He had at least 1-2 blue players around him. Like, it was a frustrating one in the middle. So I'm not going to judge him too harshly, but he definitely didn't have his best game. I'd agree with that. But I think as a team, Leicester just pressed us so well, and we struggled to compete with that. We struggled to get out of that, didn't we?
Yeah, Rodgers has got him drilled. I think they are a good team. There's no denying it. So I think players will have had a different role today, and I think McTominay had a different role to that Everton game.
Yeah. Do you think Ollie that starting lineup? We mentioned Dan James already. That's the change I would have made. I don't think James should have started, and I think Lindelof should have played right back. We've already discussed that. So do you think Ollie needs to take some of the blame for today's result? But the fact that we've gone 2 goals up and then conceded, that's what I mean. Like, hey, Ollie can't do that, can he? He can't defend.
No, you can't defend. You can't. What can you do about the defenders not picking up James Vardy in the middle of the box? They will have worked on that. There's no way you're going into Leicester game and not talking about Jamie Vardy in training and how you keep him quiet. I just, like I said, I found it a surprise that Dan James started.
Mm-hmm.
But do I think it was wrong for him to start? Not if he's got a certain plan in place, and that's the player that he thinks will fit that plan better.
Yeah.
But I just don't know. I don't know.
I'm not going to sit here and blame Ollie. I think he deserves criticism for the fact that Lindelof played right back. I don't think that should have happened, for example. Like, I agree completely with that. But at the same time, like you say, once you go a goal ahead and then you go ahead again, like, that's down to the players for me. You've got to do your jobs. You've got to mark your players. You've got to mark the space. You've got to be aware. And quite simply, we weren't. And the players have to take some stick for that. So I think it's a bit of both. I think Ollie deserves a bit of criticism. But again, the players on the pitch have got that. At the end of the day, you can go up to the touchline and that's it. It's on the players then. And we did enough in that game to win it. We didn't win it. That's got to fall on them, hasn't it? It's got to. Ollie can't help the fact that Rashford wasn't clinical, for example. Can't help the fact that Bruno missed that header. The fact that Maguire missed that. Like, Ollie cannot do that, can he?
No, I think when you score late on, like we scored in the last 10 minutes, that you would, you want us to secure it up for, those last 5 minutes and then obviously additional time. And we couldn't see it out for 90 minutes. That's Villa 1-0 up.
Yeah, Villa 1-0 up already. Damn. Yeah, Villa 1-0 up. This season's an interesting one. I know a lot of people are down because they wanted us to get closer to Liverpool, but I think if we're honest with ourselves, we've got a job on to get into the top 4 this season. And to get into the top 4 and secure that, we've got to stop conceding stupid goals, and we've also got to take our chances. And if we do that, we're definitely good enough. But that's the things that we've got to rule out, isn't it, Meg? That's what it boils down to for us, I think.
Yeah, you see the ones that grind out the result. Liverpool at times last year grind out 1-0 results. Yeah. Whether they deserved it or not, they've still got the win. And that's what we've got to be able to do. We've got to be able to say, okay, this could be a draw, but it's not going to be. It's going to be all 3 points.
I'd agree with that completely. Right, we're going to do some player ratings to finish it. So, guys, get in the chat and let us know your ratings as well. I'm just getting the squad list up so we can do that. But we'll start with David De Gea. That little dodgy back pass was one thing that stuck in my head. It was a crap pass to him as well, I will say that. But we just looked so bad playing out from the back at that point. But David De Gea, what rating out of 10? We normally say 5 is an average, Meg. So based on that, what are we thinking? In the chat, we've got one vote there of a 5, so an average game from him.
I was going to say, it wasn't. I'm trying to think if he pulled off any wonder saves, which he didn't really, because I don't think there was any wonder shots. But he conceded 2. I have said that I didn't think he could do much about them, the pace that they came at him. I would probably go for a 5.
You know what? It's hard to, yeah, I think 5 is a fair assumption. I don't think he did anything above average. He didn't do anything special. Didn't make any worldy saves. Someone said he wasn't at fault for any of the goals. Yeah, he wasn't at fault for any of the goals. I'd agree with that. So, yeah, I'm going to go between, I say 5.5. I don't think he did anything amazing, but he wasn't exactly really poor as well. And I'll keep thinking of that little back pass, that dodgy phase of play that we did, which could have cost us. Luckily, it didn't. I'll start with Lindelof right back. I mean, thoughts on him in the chat, guys. What do you reckon? Again, he was out of position, so I feel harsh to judge him, but we'll judge him on that performance. It's hard to go any.
I'm going to say, really, I'm looking across the board and I'm thinking, really, a lot of players had an average game.
Yeah.
They didn't set the world alight, but they also didn't absolutely cost us the game. Do you know what I mean? You can't pinpoint and say, oh, he's messed up badly that he's cost us.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't his position, I'm going to give him a 6, but only because he wasn't really in position, but he didn't do. You didn't see him bombing on forward and whipping all the balls in like you would. Yeah. You would probably see like a Trent Alexander-Arnold doing, but that's not because that's not how he plays.
That's not his game, is it? It's not his game. Yeah, I think I agree. A 6. I don't want to judge him too harshly because I think it's horrible to do that when he's out of position. Yeah, I agree with you. Eric Boye. You'd have to say he plays a part in that goal. The second one, he does play a part in that. Somebody needed to pick up Vardy.
Yeah, a 6. So a 6. Yeah.
I think I'm going to say a 5. I think he had a pretty. I don't think he was anything. The only reason I've gone a bit kinder with Lindelof is purely because he's out of position. For me, we to concede 2 goals, both centre backs. I think I'm going to put them as a 5.
Yeah. I was going to say Maguire was going to go. Maguire would have been a 5 for me. I don't know why I put Bayer a bit higher. I just think he's a little bit reckless, but when he's there in your face as well.
Yeah. I mean, you said there, Boy could have closed Barnes down quick for the first goal, so could McTominay. But the second goal, the fact that Vardy literally, like you say, is just there in the middle, free as a bird to just finish that. Like, for me, everyone in defence needs a bit of a punishment for that, because we should have been hanging on. We should have been so tight at that point, and to switch off the way that we have done just isn't good enough. So I think for both of them, I'm going to put a 5. I don't know if I'm being harsh there, but I think I'm going to go for a 5. Did you say 5 for Maguire as well, Meg?
Yeah, 5 for Maguire.
And then Luke Shaw.
Probably the best out of all the defence. There was at one point he kind of went on this little mazy run through the middle. I'm going to give him a 6.5, 7.
You know what? I was thinking a 6.5. I agree. I think the fact that we conceded 2, we can give a defender higher than that. So I'm going to say 6.5.
6.5.
I do think he was our one bright, and a lot of people won't like to hear this because there's a big agenda against Luke Shaw, but I do think at the back 4, he was probably our standout player. I'd agree with that. So yeah, I'm going to put him slightly higher at 6.5 for Luke Shaw. I'll start with Fred in the middle.
I actually said that he was probably, for me, one of our better players on the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm stuck between a 6.5, 7. I just like the way that he broke up play in and around the box. There was a few, especially in the first half, that he literally, the player was running through and he got his, and it was a clean tackle. One of those ones where you literally take the ball off their foot and they carry on running and you've got the ball at your foot. He did that a number of times in the first half for me, especially. So yeah, I'm going to go 7 for Fred.
Yeah, I think Fred was probably our best player, and I don't think anyone will get a higher rating than him today. Someone else had a 7 there, a 7. Nas put an 8. Yeah, I think
understand why there are there's an 8.
He was I would agree, he's probably our best player. The only thing with Fred that really frustrates me is he's so good, like you say, winning the ball back, nicking it. But then he's passing, he gives it away so much as well. And it's so frustrating because he does all the hard bit, gets the ball back, and then I don't know, you can see he's got the right idea in his head. He's trying to do like playing forward, he's trying to do it, but he's too rash sometimes. He just rushes it a little bit on the ball.
He's like, I've got the ball, won it, man.
I've got it, and then he just. But I do think he was our best player. So I think I'm going to agree with you on this one. 7.5 for Fred. Easily our best player in that midfield today, I think. Scott McTominay, player we've just been judging. I think it's today.
What you say?
I think he was pretty average, to be honest, today. I'm not overly criticising because I do think Leicester did really well in that middle, and like I say, that they really created it that middle, and it was a tough game in there, but he didn't really stand out.
No, he didn't stand out, and also really annoyed at the way that he closed down Barnes for the first goal. I just don't get it. 3. That's low. I don't think he didn't do anything particularly like, you know, when they do something, you're just like, oh. But yeah, 5.
I think I agree. I think he was bang average. Not like didn't stand out, but at the same time, he wasn't like dreadfully bad. He just didn't really do a lot in the game, and like you say, he goes down better for that first goal. So yeah, I'd agree with that definitely. Bruno,
6.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, I know it's hard. He should have an assist for Rashford's header. Let's face it, he should have had an assist for Rashford's header, and he still scored a goal. So it's mad. Like I don't. You think
he scored and assisted?
Yeah, I don't think he played very well.
He didn't mean that assist at all. He wanted to control it, definitely. But the only thing I was a bit annoyed about is that it was on a yellow card, and towards the end of the game, I was sat there thinking, "Reel yourself back in, boy.
Yeah,
you're going to get yourself sent off." There was just a couple of things. He's so passionate. I feel like sometimes it might spill over, and I'm just like, bring it back together, Bruno. Compose yourself.
Yeah.
Chill. He did give the ball away, didn't he?
Yeah.
To the nutmeg. And I think there's, our balls just put that Bruno would get an 8. We sat here and said the other day, stop just flicking it around the corner sometimes. You just need to get complete control of the ball. It wasn't the place to start trying to nutmeg somebody. Yeah. What did I give him a 6? I'll give him a 6.5. Fred with a 7. Did I give Fred a 7?
Yeah, you get Fred a 7.
Fred a 7 and Bruno 6.5.
I think I'll agree with Bruno 6.5. I'll go Fred a 7.5. So I don't think he was as good as Fred today. But that's a good point by Clay. It's an average performance by your standards, and it's a 6. I'd agree. Average performance for him, and he still bags a goal and gets an assist and could have had another assist. Like that just sums up Bruno Fernandes, doesn't it? I'd agree with that. He was still constantly a danger player. We know what he can produce. So even though he's not playing well, he's going to pull something out of the bag, and he did that. Dan James.
Look, I've said it before. He works really hard, but he gave the ball away a lot. He did, even for the first goal, he's played the ball to Bruno, but we're sat here saying Bruno should have been able to control that. I think because it was a poor pass, he literally only managed to stick a leg out and touch it on. You can't give him minus 1.5. I think that's so hard. A 4.5.
Ooh, below average. You know what? It's hard to argue with that. Twisted has gone before.
Yeah, I think, I don't want to be harsh on him. Like I said, for me, I don't know why people are putting a 2.
No,
for
it wasn't.
Me, that's literally he's played absolute cack. He didn't play cack. There's just no end product on it.
Yeah.
You do all the hard work.
I haven't heard the word cack since I was little. That made me laugh.
I didn't want to swear.
I think I picked him at the end of the day, Dan James, and he obviously trusted that he was going to be suitable for this game. Just doesn't offer enough for me at all. I'd probably say just below average as well. I'm going to agree with this one on a 4.5 on what you said. I think did not do a lot, and he didn't get into the game at all. But then when does Dan James get into the game? I know that probably gives us a better shape in terms of defensively, But he's so quick. You want him to give us more going forward. You want us to stretch teams, and he just doesn't do that. He just doesn't do that. And that is that down to Ollie, is that down to the system? I don't know what it is, but for me in this game, Dan James shouldn't have started, and that's why I'm giving him less than what an average score would be. But get on to the subs. No, we're not. Ignore me.
Just drop the other stuff.
I'm going through the list, and it's already put likes of Martial, but yeah, Marcus Rashford. We'll start with him.
What are you giving him? You say it first, and I'll see if I agree.
See, Rashford scored, but he could have had a lot more for me. I think I'll give him a 6.
I was told to be a 6 and a 6.5, but I feel like a 6 is probably more. I'm going to be not critical. I'm going to be like 0.6. 6.
It was a good finish, but over that, he didn't create it himself. It was a lucky ricochet into him. He didn't really create anything in the game. Again, he was clean through and he missed. It was a good save, but he still missed. And I just feel like he missed so many chances today. Because he scored, I'll probably push him up slightly and say 6.5. Then I'll push him up slightly because he scored. But I just don't think he had his best game today. He didn't play very well. Like I say, he could have had many more. So I'm going to say 6.5 for Rashford. Martial.
5.5.
Didn't do a lot, did he?
Didn't do a lot. Kind of looked out of it, but then also he's still there. What you say?
He had that one good run when he took on about 6 defenders.
Yeah, no, but they looked like he was in two minds. Like he wanted to shoot, but I think instead he thought I'm still a little bit too far out, and then went to try and play it. Whereas if he scores that, what a goal that would have been. But also, I think he just got caught out. It was like, in his head, he wanted to be like 5 yards more forward.
I would agree with that statement. I think Martial was an average one. I think I'd probably give him a 5. Didn't do a lot. But then Cavani, when he came on, for me, had more of an influence on the game. Whether it's because obviously he's coming on to try and score, like he's got that. Some subs, when they come on, that some people are better at reacting from being a substitute than others. And it strikes me Cavani's got that kind of winning mentality where he'd thrive on coming on from the bench to try and prove a point. And he did more than what Martial did after the start. I'd have to agree with that. So I'm going to say a 5. I think he's got good hold-up play and link-up play, but it just doesn't get on it enough for me. It just doesn't demand it enough. He needs to come a bit deep sometimes to get it. And I know that's not his style, but I just feel like when Martial's got the ball and he's running at people, it's hard to stop him, as he proved with that run. Like, he's so talented. We just want him on it a bit more. And again, we'll get the ball up to him, and I think Leicester deserve credit because they shielded that midfield well. Bruno and Martial, they struggled to get on it. Who we got? Tuanzebe. He came on, obviously right back.
It's different. I find giving ratings difficult because again, he's come on. He didn't really do much. So I'm just going to give him a 5.
Yeah, I'll give him an average. Again, for me, he should have done better on their goal. I think average 5. So hard to judge him. 5. Paul Pogba.
5.
Yeah,
again, didn't do anything spectacular when he came on, but also didn't mess up. So
I do think we looked a bit better when Pogba was on in that middle. I do think we looked a bit better, but at the same time, he never controlled the game. He never looked secure, and I think that's what Pogba was brought on to do, to try and instill a bit of control, and we never had it in that midfield. We just didn't have it. And then finally, last but not least, we have got Edison Cavani. Came on, got an assist, nice little bit of movement. So what would you give him, Meg?
Because I've given Fred my star player and I gave him a 7, I'm going to give Cavani a 6.5. But only because I think that Fred was consistent for a more longer period of time. Cavani's come on and he has got that movement, he has got that assist, but he's only gone there for a short period of time, so I expect him to be doing and being busy. Do you know what I mean? So, if he'd done that the whole game, he's come on, he'd be up there, with a really high rating. But because he's only done it for a short period of time, for me, I'm going to give him a 6.5.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that totally. I don't think can't put him up to a 7. He wasn't on the pitch long enough, but I do think he would have got that probably more than that rating if he'd have started. But I agree. I think that he had a good impact when he came on. Cavani should have been a match winner along with Bruno. That's why he deserves a 7. Yeah, I can understand a 7, to be fair. I can understand completely why. The only reason why I'm going. Then again, actually, I put Fred as a 7.5, didn't I? So I'm going to put Cavani as a 7. I can do that because Freddie's still slightly higher than him. Freddie's our man of the match, I believe, Meg. Someone said rate Ollie. So if you could rate Ollie out of 10 based on this one, what would you say? That's a tough one.
What I did see about Ollie, you know, when Rashford did miss that chance, he was going mad.
Yeah.
He was going mad. I will give Ollie a... We took the lead twice, and he's obviously had a game plan. For me, the players should have done better in terms of those 2 goals. I feel like we tamed Leicester, especially in the first half. It was very evenly matched. I'm going to give him a 5.5. I get so like, what am I going to give it? I'm just going to go for it 5.5.
That's not a bad shout. I do think bringing Cavani on, you mentioned Cavani being a game changer, but Ollie made the decision to bring him on, which I think was the right decision to make. A lot of people going mad about Donny saying they felt sorry for him, but I think it was harsh to judge Ollie on that because the injury kind of obviously lost one of his substitutes, and I'm pretty sure that he would have probably come on, or Greenwood would have come on, which would have then affected the game in our favour again. And the fact we couldn't do that because of the injury, I think is harsh as well. So I think a 5.5 or a 6 is what I would give Ollie. Probably a 5.5 is more accurate because he didn't make that change. But he shouldn't have started Dan James, and Lindelof shouldn't have played at right back, so that pulls it back down. So, yeah, I think 5.5, yeah, average, pretty average. Charles to George, I think it's an average result, average game. Looking back at it, it's just hopefully that point turns out to be important when that's all I can say. Because this season has been a mad one so far. I'm pretty sure there'll still be some mad results. And like I say, the fact that we haven't lost might turn out to be a positive later on down the line. But it's just frustrating from being in that winning position, isn't it? But Meg, absolute pleasure as always to get you on. I'm liking these little post-match videos. Guys, get in the chat and let us know if you want to see more of these. I've seen a few people requesting watch-alongs as well, and that may be something that me and Meg can arrange for in the future. So you can see us crying watching United play, trying to defend maybe, I don't know. But Meg, thanks for coming on as always. Just let people know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter. It's at Megan Can with an underscore. And enjoy the rest of your Boxing Day. Thank you for having me on, Soph. Everyone else enjoy the rest of your Boxing Day. Enjoy the rest of the festivities. And we'll have to go and watch more football. I believe Arsenal and Chelsea this evening, isn't it? 8 o'clock. So we will all eyes on that game later to see how they get on.
Alex wants to see a watch along between you and your dad for the Wolves game. I'll see if I can arrange that.
That'd be so good, so.
Yeah, it would be funny, to be fair. Like, we do have that banter. But I'll only do that if we win, because if we lose, then I'll never live that down, and I can't deal with that, to be honest with you. Guys, in the chat, have a lovely rest of your Boxing Day. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas, spending time with loved ones. Like I say, me and Meg are just a message away. If you are struggling, do not struggle in silence. We are here to support people, spread some positivity, keep smiling. Like I say, it's a frustrating one today, but it could have been a lot worse. We move on to the next one. It's pointless dwelling on that now. Have a good rest of your Boxing Day. Watch a lot more football. Eat a lot more junk food. Enjoy. Have fun. We'll be back soon. Please hit a like on the video, guys, if you're enjoying the content. If you are new, hit subscribe as well. We'd appreciate that. And if you've missed you in the chat, we don't do it on purpose. Just drop a little comment afterwards, and me and Meg will check there definitely and respond to you. All that's left to say is have a good one. We'll see you very, very soon.